Is Michael Hawkins Jr. the answer that West Virginia has been looking for at the quarterback position? It's been a revolving door at quarterback in 2025, and at 2026, Michael Hawkins Jr. just might be the answer. We're going to talk about it here on this episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. All right, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Mountaineer Moment. This is episode 123 of the show, and it's available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us and help me help you be in the know when we have new content coming your way. And this one, not an emergency podcast, not an emergency recording, but one I didn't necessarily have on my radar. But Mountaineers got a big commitment out of Michael Hawkins Jr., Oklahoma transfer out of the portal, and he's bringing his brother, Malik Hawkins, with him too. And so we're going to talk about just that on this episode of Mountaineer Moment. But I'm not doing it alone. I've got a good friend of mine. You can see him right now decked out in that Oklahoma gear. And before you tune out because he's wearing Oklahoma gear, give him a chance. He's a nice guy. This is my good friend Cameron. Cameron, what's up, bro?
Troy, what's up, man? Appreciate you having me on here. It's a pleasure to join you and talk a little football. OU's not in the Big 12 anymore, so all is well. Those days are behind us.
Those days are behind us. We'll get into that maybe later on and talk about that. But yeah, man, good to have you on. And it's funny because we were just talking about this a couple days ago when the crystal ball was looking like Michael Hawkins Jr. was coming to Morgantown. It was like, dude, you know, you're one of, I don't know, 2 Oklahoma fans that I know, and a big one at that. And so I'm going to have you on, and we're going to talk about him, and maybe, just maybe, you can give us a little insight into the product that West Virginia is getting and how that's going to factor into Rich Rod and his system. And Mountaineers have a quarterback, a freshman that started for them in the latter half of the season that did a decent job considering the season that the Mountaineers went through this year in Scotty Fox Jr. And so we'll talk about that little competition. And then toward the end of this one, we'll talk about just what maybe you see, considering you know Michael Hawkins Jr. better than I do, maybe what you see for the ceiling for this Mountaineer team with him potentially being at the helm at the quarterback position. So, Cam, your initial kind of thoughts just on, you know, as an OU fan, what do you see? You don't have to go super into likes and dislikes yet, but, you know, what have you seen? What do you know about this talented quarterback that can run really well, Michael Hawkins? What do you got?
Yeah, Mikey, whatever you want to call him. I'll just call him Mike today. The upside is there, man. We didn't see a lot of him. We saw a good bit of him last year when our offense was a complete debacle, and it was the, you know, flip-flopping at quarterback between him and Jackson. So seen enough of him, and then saw him in, I think, 2 games this year he played to kind of know what his potential is and what you guys are getting. I'm excited for him. I wish he would have stuck around, even though he would have been backing up Mountaineer. Good for him for getting a good opportunity. I definitely think, given his legs and his potential, you guys are getting a good one. And whoever ends up being the starting quarterback, he's going to bring a lot to the table.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about the kid. That's why you're here. But, I'll say, too, I mean, I've seen, obviously, a couple highlights. There's 2 that obviously stick out. It seems like those are the ones you see on X. I guess it was from last year against Auburn. Was it at Auburn? He threw an absolute bomb to someone, and then he took off for like a 50-yard touchdown run just right up the middle, and he looked like the fastest player on the field. Does he have, like, that next level speed that we're, like, looking for? Like, he's got another gear to him?
He sure does. I don't care who's on the field at running back. When Mike's on the field, he's the best runner on the field. He is slippery, is a good way to put it. If you go back and watch that Auburn game, if you want to get excited, he single-handedly won us that game. Not with his arm, but with his legs. There's that one play, I don't know if you remember seeing it, Troy, of him jumping into the end zone and doing the flip, putting his body on the line. I mean, he is willing to go out there. He's quick. He can make guys miss. And whatever type of offense Rich Rod wants to run with him and around him, if that's the route y'all end up going, his legs are definitely the difference maker for him.
Right. Yeah, I can see that just on the, I mean, it's not like he has a ton of tape. Obviously played, a good bit the year previous to this one. But is he? Oklahoma's obviously had an incredible run at the quarterback position over the last number of years. I mean, how many starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now? It's ridiculous, you know. And would you compare him, if you could? I don't know. I mean, the one that I guess comes to my mind based on just this little amount of tape that we do have is Kyler Murray, right?
Yeah.
Because of the size and the speed and the quickness and the elusiveness. I mean, he's not a Jalen Hurts, right? He's not exactly that type of runner. It's Kyler to you too?
Yeah, exactly. He just obviously has to hone in the throwing ability that Kyler has. But in terms of elusiveness and willingness to hurt you and really make a difference and, you know, get away from defenders with his legs. If he can learn to throw on the run and get a little bit of that passing ability, certainly that's a good comp.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he seems, I don't know what's his height listed at. Do you know off the top of your head?
6'1", something like that. He's not super tall,
right?
You know, but he's not Kyler short. He's average.
So he's not one of those guys that's listed at 6'1" and really like 5'8".
No.
Okay. Because, you know, that Liberty quarterback, Caden Salter, I think I had texted you about this.
Yeah.
Both of us are Liberty alums, and I think K-Salt was listed at 6'1", and both of you and I agree he's like 5'8".
Way less than that. Yeah, they were extremely generous when they put those numbers up.
I'll say.
So I stood next to him one time, and I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
Little high schooler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for those that don't know, Caden Salter, the quarterback over at Colorado, who got benched, I believe, right toward the end of the year for Juju Lewis, the talented freshman that they got. Yeah, he was in and out of the lineup. But all right, so you know, you mentioned the passing game, and obviously it's a bold statement, and I hope it's a true one that you're making about his ability to run and being the best runner on the field at any time he's on the field. But what are some? Again, you can talk about the passing game. Is it the intermediate? Is it the short passing? Is it everything? Is it making reads? What are some things that's like, I don't know, because obviously he would have started a lot more this year. And then just speak about their quarterback situation this year. Obviously, you made the playoff, and just speak about why was he just simply not ready to start game in, game out? You know, if he can run that well, obviously something's wrong with the arm a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, there were times this year when I was ready to see him. Mountaineer was certainly a roller coaster ride. Won us some games and lost us some games. And it's, the highs and the lows. I definitely think that he should have, sat, and Mike should have started the Texas game. That probably would have given us a better chance to win, to be quite frank. But we saw him a little bit. He started the Kent State game, and I believe he played a little bit in Temple and maybe one other. So, in terms of his passing, it's not great, all right? Like, I think he can certainly develop into that. And part of it is we haven't given him enough time. I mean, nowadays, everybody wants this freshman who's going to come in and be, just crushing it on week one and day one. That's not how it works. You need to get a little bit of experience under your belt, and I think he needs that. It's twofold. One, he just doesn't see the field extremely well. I think he rushes certain decisions. If he's feeling pressure also in his ability to run, I think sometimes instead of standing in and trying to find a guy that's open, he can kind of jump to, let me look and run around and try to escape, when you could just give it another second or two and let something develop. And then also being able to throw accurately on the run a little bit is something that he certainly needs to improve on. So in terms of potential and upside, I once heard an OU person saying that he was the most talented guy in the quarterback room this past offseason. That was with Mountaineer and with the other guys. That doesn't mean he was the best, but I'm just talking strictly talent level and potential in terms of some of the throws he was making, the plays he was making throughout practice.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you break down or just look at who he was coming out of high school, incredible senior season, and you look at the level at which he was recruited, it speaks for itself. And, I think as West Virginia fans, it doesn't matter how limited his experience has been or anything of that sort. What stands out here, if we're just going to be super frank about it, is West Virginia's getting a quarterback that was at Oklahoma, QBU. And so that's significant. Hopefully he works out a little bit better than Austin Kendall did a few years ago. if you remember that throwback. But yeah,
forgot about that one.
But it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, and the talent is there. The upside, the ceiling is there, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. But I just wanted to real quick. We won't spend a ton of time here, but Malik Hawkins, his brother, right? Every article, news headline that you read about this deal that they've reached, West Virginia and Hawkins, it's that, well, it's a 2-for-1. 2 birds, 1 stone. They're getting both of them. And cornerback Malik Hawkins joining his brother coming to Morgantown. Speak to just a little bit what you know about him and, even the cornerback room at Oklahoma this previous season.
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of figured it'd be a packaged combo deal, like you mentioned, wherever they ended up. They're obviously close and came to OU together. Don't know much about Malik. Our cornerback and DB room at OU this year was really strong between Cortland and Eli and, Boganowski, a couple of those guys. Malik just wasn't going to see the field. And so good for him for going somewhere. Hopefully he can get some playing time and get some reps, but I'm not sure what he can do and, given his limited time on the field.
Right. Yeah, Oklahoma, pretty good defense this year, to say the least. Why don't you just, for the fun of it, fill West Virginia fans in on that Oklahoma defense? Because in the Big 12, I think you'd admit it, that wasn't always the case. So,
what did it look
like this
defense year in the Big 12, Troy? It was. I went from the longest time of thinking, man, we can score 30 points in a game, but we're probably going to lose because we're going to give up 31.
Right.
To all of a sudden, ain't nobody scoring more than 24, but can we score 20?
Yeah.
It's kind of completely flip-flopped. We had good moments on offense this year, but the defense, I personally think it was one of the best 3 defenses in the country, if not the best. It may not look that way at times because the offense was that bad that the defense was on the field a lot, and we had a lot of turnovers. But our front 7, our linebacker room, our corners, getting pressure on the quarterback, having Brent Venables who could dial up pretty much anything and throw the kitchen sink at everyone that we play, confuse quarterbacks, give guys opportunities. It was something special this year. I just hope we can improve a little bit on the offense for next year and kind of see what happens. But as we were talking about that corner and safety room, we had Eli Bowen and Peyton Bowen, who are brothers. Eli really stepped up. He had that big interception in the Alabama game this year. Our Mason Thomas at defensive end, if you watch that Tennessee game, he's the one who had the strip sack and ran it all the way back. He got hurt on that play, unfortunately, but ended up coming back for the playoff game. And then Cortland Guillory, who didn't get a lot of talk because he was shutting down guys, shutting down top receivers, and wasn't talking about him much because they weren't throwing his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a good problem, right? So, with these 2 guys, I mean, just so Mountaineer fans know, so obviously the word on Michael Hawkins, he's got 3 years of eligibility remaining. His brother, the cornerback, Malik's got 4 years. And it seems like even for West Virginia fans, especially this past season, Cam, we had 80, I just told you this the other day, we had 81 new players on this team. And a lot of them are out of eligibility. And so it's like back to the drawing board yet again. And so it's almost a breath of fresh air for us, in Morgantown to know that there's a potential. Obviously, these guys could be gone in a few months. It's just the way the world works now. But there's potential for them to be there for the long haul in Morgantown. So that's a welcome sight for West Virginians. Now, what I want to do for you and, part of this situation that Mikey Hawkins is walking into is he's walking into what they're speculating already to be a quarterback competition in Morgantown. I'll paint you the picture of what this last year looked like. And at the quarterback position, the best way to describe it, Cam, is it was like a pickup game at the YMCA. You did not know who was going to come out drive after drive after drive. They didn't announce a starting quarterback until 30 minutes before game time week 1, and that was Nico Markiel. Now, Nico Markiel did his thing, played all right, had ups and downs. If you look at West Virginia's schedule, this quarterback...
Troy, how far into the season was it before you got to the 4th quarterback on the depth chart? 3rd, 4th?
Well... So I'll tell you right now. I'll give you exactly what happened. So Against Robert Morris, Nico was the guy. He played really well. We blew him out. Done. We lost to Ohio on the road. We lost our elite running back Jaheim White, ACL injury, done for the season. We lost a starting wide receiver in that game as well, done for the season. Against Pitt, Nico Markiel starts again. We have a lead at halftime, and then Rich Rod decides to play this true freshman who leads a scoring drive, and then on back-to-back throws, he throws back-to-back interceptions. Back-to-back drives, back-to-back interceptions. Then Nico comes back into this game against Pitt. You had the lead when you left, and now you're down double figures when you're inserted back into the game. Don't know that I've seen that before.
Musical chairs.
And he wins the game. So then it's like, oh my goodness. Talk about a roller coaster. Nico wins the game, and it's like, oh, this is the best feeling ever. Nico, we know that Nico is starting against Kansas the first game in Big 12 play. We knew that. That was the first time we knew that entering a game this season, that we knew who the starter was going to be. And then we got blasted 41-10 by the Jayhawks. Then between that and Utah, Nico was apparently a little banged up, a little hurt. So Jalen Henderson transfer comes in, and he starts, and we got blasted by Utah. Jalen Henderson was abysmal. But Khalil Wilkins got a little bit time in that game as a redshirt freshman, threw a touchdown in garbage time, and it's like, hey, maybe he's the guy. And then he starts on a Friday night in Provo against an unbeaten BYU team, and we lose that one 38-24. Credit to the kid, because I think he carried it 23 times on the ground. He's the most talented runner on this West Virginia quarterback, as far as quarterbacks are concerned. And he couldn't really throw. That's definitely his problem as a redshirt freshman. That's why he wasn't starting, but he started that game against BYU. And then against UCF, we see the true freshman who we hadn't seen much of since he threw back-to-back interceptions against Pitt in the backyard brawl. Scotty Fox gets the start against UCF. Did not play particularly well. Khalil Wilkins got some time in that one as well. But after that, it was Scotty Fox. He started every game from there on out. He started against TCU, threw for over 300 yards. He started against Houston and won that game on the road against a ranked team. Houston was 7-1 at the time, and you beat them. He beat Colorado. He almost engineered a comeback against Arizona State. They lost by 2 points. And then I'm not going to tell you the score against Texas Tech because I don't feel like it. But here is the deal. The last half of the season, it was Scotty Fox, true freshman. He showed some signs of life. He showed an ability to run. He showed an ability to throw. 300-plus yards against TCU. But ultimately, Scotty Fox he's not Pat White. He's not Pat White in style. He's not Denard Robinson that Rich Rod had at Michigan. He's not Khalil Tate that he had at Arizona. I forget the dude's name at Jacksonville State that ran for 1,200 yards the year before Rich Rod got to Morgantown. He's not built that way. And a lot of what people are saying right now is that you bring in Hawkins because he is a, quote, Rich Rod kind of quarterback. Now, with that said, if there's one bright spot that the Mountaineers had from the 2025 season, it was a true freshman quarterback that at times won you a couple games and at times looked really, really, really good. But now Hawkins is here. He's coming from Oklahoma, QBU. If you would put on your not necessarily your Oklahoma hat that you're wearing right now, but your hat that says Michael Hawkins is the guy for West Virginia, why would you make that case for him to be the guy over Scotty Fox?
Two things. I would say, one, Mike's upside and his talent and his potential, and I'm not saying Scotty doesn't have that. I didn't watch a ton of games this year. Maybe he does. Mm-hmm. But Mike got recruited to OU for a reason. You have to remember that. Yeah. Not a lot of guys get recruited to OU. So in terms of potential and talent, they see that. And it's not like we were pushing him out. I mean, we wanted to keep him. It's just, hey, nowadays in college football, go play, go start. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Good for him. Two, in the time that he did play, he was playing against the SEC. And everybody knows the SEC week in and week out, the defenses that we see, the games that he started. He may have not have looked amazing, but he went into Jordan-Hare, played Auburn on the road, and won a game.
Yeah.
So what he's seen and the adversity that he's been through, I think will help him to only learn and get better in the future. And especially, too, we didn't do a good job of creating an offense that was built around him. It was kind of, hey, here's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Let's see if you can make it work. But if Rich Rod goes that route and ends up building the offense around him and catering to his style and his strengths, I think it could be scary.
I agree, and I think it's to be in Rich Rod's shoes right now is kind of tough because as much as you, or as many ways as you can like slice this thing up, the reality is these are two different quarterbacks. Scotty can run, yes, but he's not Hawkins. Scotty can, he's got some size to him, and he's not afraid to run or anything like that, but they're just different. And to me, that's a different set of plays that you can even pull off with these two guys. And so, at what point into this offseason do you make the quote-unquote decision to build around one of these two, or are you just going on the fly, which is what we did this year? And nothing that we saw on the field was necessarily catered to Nico Markiel or Jalen Henderson or Khalil Wilkins or Scotty Fox. It was all the same plays because you really didn't know what quarterback you were going to have, not only game by game, but possession by possession. So it'll be something interesting to watch, through the course of offseason and camp and everything.
Troy, what
Rich Rod's going to be saying about this position.
What's your feel? What do you think? Does he play the musical chairs? Does he do the two quarterback thing, or does he kind of feel it out, stick with one guy, and go that way?
Rich Rod's not scared to do that, as we have seen year after year. And I don't know. I mean, I think coming into this season, Nico Markiel won the job, and we expected him to win the job. But he literally, and he's not a crazy good runner either. But he was hurt, and he battled through some games where it was like he literally he looked slow. And we knew from seasons past he was not that slow. But he had a lingering foot injury that he was battling through and then decided to have season-ending, surgery on it because it was that, it was affecting him that much. So with that said, I don't know. I don't know if, one of these guys is going to win the job so overwhelmingly that we're going to know by fall camp that it's going to be this guy over the other. But I think it certainly makes things interesting. And the goal, obviously, would be that it makes both of these guys better. Because at this moment, it's going to be Hawkins or it's going to be Scotty Fox. And we now know that. And 24 hours ago, we did not. So that makes things interesting. For this quarterback competition in Morgantown, what would you say, and we'll end with this, and then we'll talk about some fun stuff, because I brought you on here, and I'm going to give you an opportunity. Don't rub it in too much, but Oklahoma's done some things to West Virginia that I don't often speak of, but I'll let you speak of them over the last number of years, because I'll get my jabs in with the 2008 Fiesta Bowl too. But Hawkins, what you know about him, is the sky the limit? Can this team compete for a Big 12 title with this dude at quarterback if he is the guy?
100%. 100%, Troy. Here's why. The Big 12, as you know, is just a coin flip, except for one team, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Do y'all play Texas Tech next year?
I don't know.
Well, even if you don't, you just got to be one of the best two in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And I think with what Rich Rod has done, with what you guys are building, if you get the right people in there, if Mike steps up and can be the difference maker and put up a lot of points, absolutely. I think you can. I don't want to put a record on it, but knowing the Big 12 and how volatile it is, all it takes is, you mentioned a lot of close games this year. All it takes is a couple of those games going your way. Next thing you know, you're sitting there with only 1 or 2 losses, and depending on the schedule and how it shakes out, can definitely see you guys making that step in the direction and competing for the Big 12.
That would be nice. And it goes without saying, us as Mountaineer fans here know that you need an offensive line to be able to do any of this. And West Virginia's primary problem, and the thing I'm most concerned about is even West Virginia's recruiting. They get this receiver from USC, they get a cornerback from Wisconsin, they got a kid who led the FBS in rushing on campus right now from Jack State last year, who's might commit, right? There's obviously a connection there with Rich Rod being at Jack State. But West Virginia brought in some talent this year, and look what happened, right? It wasn't a success at all. But one of the things that we knew coming into the season was what was the biggest question mark was the West Virginia offensive line, and it was absolutely positively the biggest problem that this team had. They couldn't block against the pass, they couldn't block against the run with the run. They couldn't do a thing. And it was ugly. Week after week, it was a really, really bad offensive line play, and the hope is that Rich Rod can fix that. I've even seen some comments on these posts about Hawkins coming here. It's like, well, that's all great and good, but if we can't block for him, ain't no one going to be able to play quarterback for this team. And at times, that's how it felt in 2025, unfortunately. So if they can fix that, I definitely believe in this kid too. So we shall see what happens. All right, Cam. West Virginia, Oklahoma spent some time together in the Big 12. And I will say the only thing that we have bragging rights about is that we won that last matchup. Garrett Green led the way in Morgantown in late November. It was an off year for Oklahoma, obviously, because that's the only way we won. But anything stick out to you from your time in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think you and I were there, Troy. What was it, 2017, the snow game?
2016. I didn't think
2016.
I didn't think we were going to go there. All right.
Oh, we're going there right off the bat. Man, that was a fun time. I've been to Morgantown a couple times. That was the last time I was there. It was awesome. We show up. It's hype. It's a night game. Next thing you know, it's a blizzard. We look down, and the players are fighting pregame. I'm like, let's get into it. I think y'all jump on us early, and it was like, okay. No?
Mm-mm.
At one point, I thought you were up. Maybe not. My memory is not the greatest.
Nope.
I just remember we were up there.
2018, we jumped out on you.
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Troy, we were there. I think I saw you for the first 15 minutes of that game, and then you said,
okay, all right. Okay, so 2016, Oklahoma 56, West Virginia 28 in the snow. And I believe they got off to a 34-0 start for Oklahoma.
34-0? It was that?
That's, Cameron, that is what sent me to the concourse for the remainder of the game. True story. Sat on the concourse contemplating life after going there with my good friend Cam, and it was an embarrassment. And West Virginia was good that year. That's why we were there. It was Oklahoma was ranked 9th. West Virginia was ranked 14th. Both of them entered that game with, Oklahoma improved to 9-2. West Virginia fell to 8-2, and so it was supposed to be a good game. And I do remember though we were down so much and lost obviously 56-28, but I believe West Virginia had cut that to 42-28 with halfway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that was maybe what you're remembering, and then just couldn't stop anything. But a lot of snow. Baker Mayfield only threw the ball 15 times in that game. How is that possible?
A lot of running.
Crazy.
A lot of running. Yeah, that was fun. And then good back and forths. Of course, you bring up the Fiesta Bowl. That was fun. But yeah, no, a lot of good days in the Big 12 battling it out. And then your good friend Buddy Hield, of course.
Oh my gosh,
talk basketball at all? But
we could do that. I'll speak to the game in 2018 as well. So that was the last year that West Virginia was relevant, by the way. And Cam, we are in the year 2026, and so that just hurts a lot. That was the last year West Virginia was
next
ranked.
year, Troy. Next year's the year.
That's what I've been saying since 2018. So Dana left us high and dry after Will Greer, Gary Jennings, David Sills, out of eligibility, and Oklahoma won that game. I think the over/under total points was 90. It was insane.
Probably went over.
And it would finish 59-56. Just an insane game. Back and forth. Kyler Murray, I'll just give you some numbers. 20 for 27, 364, 3 touchdowns. Kennedy Brooks went off, 21 carries, 182. Kyler had 114 yards on the ground. Will Greer, 32 for 49, 539 yards.
Remember that defense we were talking about back in the day for OU? That's how it was.
Oh, my gosh. Gary Jennings and David Sills combined for 15 catches for, 350 and 4 touchdowns. Just insane. And I will never forget, Cam. I don't remember what the score was. It was in the second half. Obviously, that game was extremely back and forth. There were so many lead changes, but we put up Kenny McCoy ran one in for 30, 40, 50 yards or something. And I think it was TJ Simmons, who transferred to West Virginia from Alabama, who got called for an aggressive blocking penalty.
That's not one you see every day.
No.
That's one that you'll remember.
Yep. And if not the next play, 2 plays later, Will Greer strip sack touchdown. And that about did me in. Me and my brother, you weren't at that one. My brother and I went to that. I was sick as a dog. It was a Friday night, I think. I think it was Black Friday. I was sick. It was cold, but I was there. And it was a fun, crazy back and forth game with Big 12 title implications, and you won that one too.
A lot of good memories, a lot of shootouts, and a lot of points.
Yes.
So,
oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about the Tavon Austin game, right?
Oh, dude.
The man started one game at running back and had 340 yards.
Should have done that more.
Crazy stuff. But yeah, basketball. Were you at my house for that? No, I don't think so.
No, I was not at your house for that. I was.
Do you want to tell your version of what you understand the story to be, and then I'll explain?
So I'm sure you West Virginia fans remember the Buddy Hield game.
Yes.
The buzzer beater game. Troy remembers it vividly. I remember I was watching and I was texting Troy. Troy sometimes texts, he sometimes just goes silent. Well, he had gone silent at the end of this game. Next thing I know, I get a text from his buddy who said, Troy broke the door and is sitting in the driveway for like 30 minutes. I just remember, you can tell your side of it, but you broke the door at your house because you were so mad and then just sat outside contemplating life for a while.
Until my friends came to get me and said that the shot did not count.
Did not count.
So, I mean, I thought for sure that was so good. And, that game just had so much build up, in the Big 12 conference tournament. It was actually that year, it was my first night home from spring break. Back home at my parents' house, and they shut Buddy Hield down all game. Best player in the nation. West Virginia's defense, obviously known for their defense back then, shut him down all game. And then they're down by 1 or 2 or whatever it was, and he just half-court heave, banks it in, and I was irate. And so I stormed down the steps in my house, my parents' house, not my house, my parents' house, as I'm home from college for the week, and I just punched the door that's in my way. I go out in the driveway, lay down for a little bit, contemplate life, and my friends obviously come and get me, and they're like, dude, you're not going to believe it.
Don't count.
Did not count. It was late. I said, what? Storm back inside, see that it was, didn't count, and I was obviously very excited, but I had a little problem in my hands because I just broke a piece of furniture, and, not furniture, but, whatever you want to say, broke a structure in my parents' home. My first night home from spring break. I texted my brother about it, and, because he's a Mountaineer fan, obviously watching the game too. He was laughing like crazy. And then the funniest thing I remember too from this is West Virginia lost the next night to Kansas, and my brother texted myself and my dad, and he was like, well, I wonder what Troy broke tonight, considering they actually lost. And so, yeah, good memories, good times, and, man, I miss Oklahoma in the Big 12. Made things more fun, obviously, in this friendship. But, dude, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us the lowdown on the Hawkins brothers coming to Morgantown. I'm excited, and I think you're excited, too. It's kind of cool. I don't think you would have been particularly excited if West Virginia and Oklahoma were still in the same conference, but it's exciting stuff now.
Of course. Yeah. Hey, wish you the best of luck. Go Mike. Go Mountaineers. Hope you guys go make a run at the Big 12 title, and appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. All right. For the episode 123 of Mountaineer Moment. Cam, I've been at this thing since late August, 123 episodes in. We are grinding. And for episode 123, we'll see you next time on Mountaineer Moment. Let's go Mountaineers.